Alright guys, Beal here back with more Horizon, and we are getting relatively close to continuing on the main story. So these are things that reappeared, whatever, and that never appeared for some reason, even though I already did it. But okay, so there's things that I still want to do before I continue on the main story. We have this Cauldron here we're gonna do, we have these two, and then we have then we have a side quest. After that, I think I'm ready to continue on the main story. But I was going to do those things first. So I think we're going to do the Cauldron here. By the way, I love how I'm 18 levels above the fucking main story quest. But I feel like we're probably nearing the end, if I were to guess. Because, after we've done this, we have this section here, which that's obviously going to, be a bit. But, I would guess, maybe 5 hours. And then we have this small area here, which I'm assuming is endgame. Considering when we were there, it was implied that is where the base of what's they're fucking called, Far Zenith, is. So yeah, there's not much left. I don't think. And main story wise, what mission are we at? 11. So we have 6 main story quests left. So there really isn't that much. That being said, I do want to platinum the game as well. I did just look at the...
I detect you are in the vicinity of a cauldron on the coast. You may be able to acquire more machine overrides from its core. I have marked the location on your focus display.
Wait, why is Gaia telling me that? That's weird. Level 40. Ooh, that might be difficult. So is this the last Cauldron? I guess we'll see.
Refreshing.
But yeah, I still want to get the platinum. But out of the ones that are not locked, there's nothing there that is unattainable. It's all relatively easy things. It's things I'm gonna probably need a guide for, finding all the machines, scanning all the machines, and whatnot. But
This kelp might give me some cover. Looks like I can swim down from here.
so is this the entirely underwater one?
I like snap malls a lot better when they can't reach me.
Yeah, if I were to guess, I would say we're gonna have this game done probably in about a week or so, right? If even that long. I think we're relatively close to the end. Again, we're 40 hours in at this point. If I were to guess, I would say another 10 hours of gameplay. I think we're done, probably. Maybe at most 15.
I'm in. Time to find the core and get those machine overrides.
So again, last few episodes I've been listening to podcasts. We'll do that again. Why not?
Really, really well done.
Not great.
So, my favorite part about all of this, aside from Angelina's posture, because she is very much standing there waiting on her presentation, like Natalie, but it's so transparent, and the acting is so bad that Natalie thinks, she doesn't even give her the jacket. If this was a genuine connection, You wouldn't even have to ask Natalie for the jacket. She'd have handed you to it. Like, I know you cold, you know. We see people do that all the time. Like, they going out the game, but they're like, hey, you win it all. Or you make it to the end, I got you. You know, that kind of thing. Like, I'm going to be on the jury. I got your vote. Here, she's like, nah, I don't trust Angelina. Angelina, she clutches her pearls. She's like, oh, and then she's like, Natalie, give me a hug. Give me a hug.
Her like, I'm so sorry that you're leaving.
Right.
She gives it a pause. And for Angelina goes, she's like, hey, by the way, you're not gonna do anything with that jacket. You want a Ponderosa? What do you need it for?
Natalie, is there any way I could have your jacket?
Natalie, and the whole time Jeff does not stop and be like, Natalie, do you hear her? Like, Jeff is like, Natalie, your torch is My favorite part about this though is that when they showing the votes and they do like their exit confessional, Natalie is wearing the jacket. She wasn't wearing it when she got voted off. She put it on just for the voting confessional. She's like, yeah, and I didn't know if Angelina did it, so I kept my jacket. She's so good. She's so good.
Yeah. Do we think Natalie will play again?
It's really great.
I don't think she'll play again. I want her to play again, but I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot more. There are many more priorities than Natalie. If we're talking about a second chances or something like that.
Yeah, and her strategy was pretty one note. It was, I'm old. I'm not gonna win. I'm old. And they were like, okay, but this day 4, we ain't worried about who finna win. You get on my nerves.
We're gonna vote you out because you're old and gonna lose us challenges if you're saying that. Like,
right, I'm old.
Oh, I did.
She was when she was arguing with Jeremy. She's like, I'm 72 years old. Like, you are not that old. She's just like complains all these things because that was her thing. But I do miss her voting confessionals because when she goes and votes, she says the nicest thing and the nastiest thing. You can tell she's somebody's boss. You're like, you know, Lisa, take your members only jacket, your lime green members only jacket back to Boston. And I love your purple hair. Wink. You know, like, look at Natalie, a showman.
Do you want to hear her voting confessional against Jeremy?
You talked about sister love stuff, and you showed me no love. So that stinging sensation you feel in your eyes right now, that's a Natalie napalm. Get off of my island. By the way, your skin is gorgeous, darling.
Yes.
that's like corporate human resources training if I've ever heard it. Like, a compliment sandwich. Tell us something bad and then give us something good.
Yeah.
The problem is the sandwich has two somethings, and I think she's just like, okay, I'll just sprinkle a little something on the top. She's like, yeah. We miss Natalie. I hope she's well.
Yeah. Let's talk about one more episode before we get to the merge, and over at Jabeni, that now we didn't really talk about that. Mike and Nick have the rock stars. That is an alliance. You know, it's interesting that like really this Jabeni tribe is going to end up featuring the 3 people that come out of this are going to be the final 3 in the season. It's not a straight consecutive line for them. It sort of like just like works out that like they're all in the final 6 and sort of say, hey, should we be the final 3? And they end up getting back together. Ultimately, it seems like that Mike is considering taking out Angelina here, but decides to go and take out Lyrsa because he didn't want to vote out 2 Goliaths.
Yeah, he doesn't want to show the Goliaths that he's 2 against them. He's already voted out one of their people. He doesn't want to screw himself that bad.
Yeah, and this is one of my favorite moments from Mike is just him realizing that Angelina is nuts, you know, from his perspective at least. Because he's just like, I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life. Like, ma'am, you did all the things in public. Like, we see you. The sun is still shining. Like, it's daylight outside. And you're like, we watched you vote this woman out and not vote her out so that she can give you the jacket. And then you came back to the tribe and bragged about it. I can't trust you. So I kind of want to get rid of you. But like I said, this is the start of Angelina's coach edit, where she's like, I forget where. She's doing her confessional, and she's like, Natalie going home was bittersweet. She was bitter, and for the tribe it was sweet. Like, oh, you got him. Like, whoa, what a knee slapper. Like, she is feeling herself, and the camera loves it. Okay, they love it.
this is the start of like Angelina's like transformation to the goat to take to the end. Like she's this gives her the horns. The thing coming up with Elizabeth's gonna give her like the face. Like her mishaps over the season transform her into the goat by the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sad to see Lyrsa go. It seems like, everybody really liked her, but they end up not even being able to compete in this saucer challenge, which ends up being a big blowout. 2 weeks in a row between Survivor Winners at War and Survivor David vs. Goliath that we see Nick be a part of the tribe that loses this challenge, but this one ends up being like one of the biggest blowouts in Survivor history. Like they just like dropped the thing and just like are watching the other two teams put the puzzles together at the end of this.
I think Mike White says that all the Goliaths on their tribe, including the Davids, the whole tribe is Davids. Like, we are the Davids of the Goliaths, and we are with the Davids of the Davids. And so they're physically outmatched anyway. Like, they don't have one big, strong guy. You know, Nick, like, no offense to Nick and Mike, but, like, they're the smaller of the guys from the other tribes. And, like, you got John Hennigan on another tribe, and you got Alec and Dan on another tribe. Like, they don't have it. So, I mean, honestly, I would have put that saucer down a long time ago. Like, the way they got blown out, you would have just seen me make one trip, and I'd have to sit down.
A couple other things that happened in the pre-merge from the other two tribes that happened by this point. We get Bengate, splitting Bamboo Gate, and Jason, we hear about that Elizabeth has bad back. She wants to split the bamboo. Davey is like, there's not enough time today to do this. Carl is incensed that she does this, and Elizabeth is hot.
She hates lazy people, and she hates stupid people.
It's such a good quote. Such a good one.
So yeah, she just starts like loudly splitting bamboo in the middle of the day. I believe waking Carl up from a nap, maybe. So it's bad tribe etiquette. Bad compromising skills. We can do this tomorrow, in the early morning, but not right now when the sun's about to go down. She can't wait. Her back's so bad, and she tell them her sob story. Like, well, it would help if you had said something about your bad back like 3 days ago. Could have done this up already, but she wanted to suffer. So
that's going to be a big deal when we get to the merge. And then I think I forgot about everything about Dan, because I most certainly did not recall. I really didn't remember him having one idol, but I definitely didn't remember him having a second idol that he ends up getting in a challenge where this was like, this happened? I have no recollection of this. Dan finds a second idol while he's at Tiva in the immunity challenge.
There are certainly some greatest hits that are put into this season in particular. And one of those things is this go find the idol at the challenge. We see it in other seasons and it plays really well. And I think that's why this season is ranked so high, because it has little tidbits of other seasons that we really like. And so, yeah, Dan finding his idol largely doesn't really amount to anything in the grand scheme of things for Dan. But for us, yeah, it's like, oh, that happened. I'm sorry. So, yeah, I had forgotten about the second idol. I think the first one I remember. I just didn't know that he found it at the challenge. But I do want to say about Elizabeth. Don't y'all think it's weird that like Carl obviously hates her. He's been hating her since the Jessica thing. Like, let's just call it what it is. But when she's starting to throw her fit about her back, she's bumping into everybody with the bamboo and everything, to the point where Davey, who hasn't said a bad word about anybody at this point, is like, hold on, what is the problem? What is you got going on? She's like, okay, just hear me out. My back hurt. 2 weeks before I came out here, I couldn't even walk. Now, pause. You got 2 weeks before you came out here? You couldn't walk, and you were like, I'm gonna go play Survivor. They would have to put me on injury reserve. Like, I just feel like that's how you end up like Pat.
Wow.
That might have been an embellishment.
As David, this is just incredible that you had a back injury also. This is just another blow for the Davids.
I get it. It's $1 billion, but you could, if you couldn't walk, couldn't you foresee death in your future if you went out on this island? Like, look at Pat.
They cleared the walk.
Yeah. It sounds like an embellishment. Jason, you think this is shenanigans? Is she lying?
Just a wee bit. I mean, maybe she didn't like to walk, but she could walk. It felt great when she walked, but she could walk.
Okay. All right.
Might have had a picture of Kitty up, but she could walk.
That's all I have for the pre-merge. Anything else from the pre-merge?
One thing that stands out to me here is that we get a lot of Mike White saying like, "Oh my gosh, how are we going to vote out Lyrsa here? Like, we all love each other so much." I believe his direct quote is, "I don't like the idea of dashing dreams." Okay, well, Mike, what happened? Because you forget from that moment on, you start dashing dreams left and right. There's not a dream in sight that you don't want to dash until you get to the final tribal council and you nut up. So I really want to know, is this a turning point? Is this the moment we see Mike White like start to grow, like put his conscience to the side and be the Heisenberg that we know him to be before he later on cracks at the end?
He says in his quarantine questionnaire that once he got to the merge, he got like a sudden jolt of confidence.
You can tell. You can tell. And that's a trope in Survivor as well, right? Like the less physical people, when they get to the merge, they got a little wiggle room. You know, like, oh, no one's looking at me because there's all these big people. And so that allows you to kind of move in the shadows, probably the way a Mike White would like to. So I don't blame him, because in a swap tribe, yeah, if it's not Lyrsa, it's Mike. You know, so, you know, just in a typical tribe, not saying for their relationship, but I'm saying if we're trying to win a challenge, somebody got to go. And I might start looking at Mike White as one of those people, so I don't blame him. I just hate that he kind of lost that killer instinct later on once he got to the end.
Okay. All right, we're at the merge. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk through what's going on with the final 13. 7 Goliaths, 6 Davids. How's it all going to play out? And your questions coming up here. When we come back here, talking about the number 6 season of all time, David versus Goliath. We're going to get you back to the podcast in 30 seconds, but first we got to thank our friends at Geico. Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do, and I bet it can be hard work. But you know what, Frank?
Yeah, you think the producers are like, kind of upset that nobody got it? Like, damn it, just tear the logo off and throw it in the woods. They get it that way.
Yeah. It looked like a Hollister t-shirt. Like, haven't you seen that same print everywhere? I wouldn't have thought nothing of it either. I was like, oh, look. Like, Abercrombie. Like, you know, like, I seen this shirt at Target. It doesn't look like a map. It just says, you know, everything's down here. So I don't blame them for overlooking it. But you do notice that they have to move it, like, 3 times for them to find it. They're like, okay, here it is in the woods now. Like, this is a thing.
Yeah, also, like, napkin rings had the logo, so it was like all over everything.
Where's it need to be?
They were trying to force them to pay attention, like, look at me, it's right here. But they were eating, people were getting drunk, Carl, and so they didn't really have time to focus on, I guess, what was right in front of them. But Gabby did point out that it seemed like a clue. She just wasn't able to put all the pieces together.
Yeah. That's actually going to happen in the next episode, and Nick and Davey are going to go look for it in the episode after this one. All right, so everybody eats, everybody is getting together. We get some interesting strategic maneuvers here. We're going to get a thing called the Strike Force of 6, Chappelle, where...
Oh.
Yes?
I thought we were going to talk about my favorite Survivor player of all time, Drunk Carl.
Oh,
Drunk Carl appears here, and Drunk Carl starts snitching. He talks about how the thing with Alec, I'm sure he's the one who gets the ball rolling on Elizabeth. Drunk Carl is one of the greatest of all time, and you can't tell me different.
He basically tells everybody he hates Elizabeth's guts.
He get drunk and like, you know what? I can't stand stupid people. What's the quote? Drunk Carl is throughout this season several times, I think, and this is his first strategic move. And it's, hey, can we all just look? I know we're down in numbers, but I'm fine with that as long as we can get rid of Elizabeth.
Yeah, well, she voted out Jessica. Don't forget about that.
He will never let it go. He will never let it go.
Yeah, she tried to make her own bed, so we don't like that. But we're gonna get so Mike, Allison, and Alec end up talking to Nick, Christian, and Gabby. This is really interesting because Mike Allison and Alec were each on
Fuck.
3
Do I really
different
need to-
tribes. And they want to bring in Nick from Jabeni, and then Christian and Gabby, who were with Allison. And I guess Alec somehow, that he doesn't get to bring anybody to this alliance. It's a group of 6.
Yeah, he was aligned. Was he ever aligned with, like Mike? Or
He must have been tight
Allison?
with them from the Goliath tribe.
This just seemed to kind of pop up out of nowhere, like on the beach. They just kind of like are there and they're like, hey, why don't we just do this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, this is another one of those greatest hits from Survivor, right? We love the idea of the cross-tribal alliance and token teams, which you saw in the top 20, whatever number it was. But you see that, and we're all like, oh, what if that could have worked out? We're Taj and Steven and all that stuff, and Brendan. But you get this here. You get the strike force, and the idea of it is the 6 of us are going to. Of course, we got to vote out a couple more Davids first. But then when we get ready to go after the Goliaths, we have y'all. We ain't gonna let y'all go nowhere because we got y'all as ammunition. We can start to bounce back and forth and pick off both sides.
Yep. And, this season is a really interesting example where I feel like that the strategic play, kind of worked against the players in this season, because every time the players who had the numbers, went against their numbers, they paid for it. That every time they said, okay, what if we end up voting with those people that are on the bottom against the people from our side? Immediately the people on the bottom said, now we have all the power, now we're going to vote you out. It happens time and time again at the merge. And really, the play was the Goliaths had it. Angelina had it from the jump. Vote out the Davids, stay Goliath strong, get to the final 7.
Yeah, Alec, this really starts Alex flip-flopping back and forth. Every episode is like, I know, I'll stick with the Goliaths, I'll be fine. And he's like, no, I need to get some Davids and some Goliaths and take out. He got way too much in his head at that point. Both him and Allison flip-flop back and forth throughout the whole rest of the time that they're on the show.
I mean, again, he's the same guy who voted out Natalia for no good reason.
Yeah, allegedly. So here's my thing. It drives the Davids crazy that this happens. And so that's why it's even sweeter watching them still get one over on the Goliaths, because you'll see with every tribal council, they are increasingly more annoyed that these people keep pretending that they want to play with them. They're like, haven't these swap tribes meant anything to you? Because of the swap, we're supposed to have an alliance. And then the Davids are the Goliaths are like, yeah, sure, but next time, maybe next time. So what now I gotta steal your damn vote since you don't know how to act, So then that's how every vote goes on for the next 2 or 3.
Yeah, David's we're tired of being the plan B.
I'll be a side piece here. I'll be a side piece. You over here meeting with your maid over on the beach, talking about you gonna get rid of me. You gonna stay faithful to your maid, then you gonna get rid of me.
Name a better duo, a side piece and a plan B. I just don't think there is one. I think they should just went along with it. I ain't met a plan B. I ain't met a plan B I don't like yet. Plan B. And plan B worked. Look at them. They made it so far.
Yeah. So, the votes are, there's a lot of talk about what to do. Angelina wants to go after Christian. Says, okay, Christian is the person we have to go after. She's gonna rally the troops, and she's gonna try, and they try to put some marching music under her while she's giving the orders to everybody, and especially Dan. Hey, who do you think you are? That's a brochacho you're trying to get. I like Christian. He can't go home yet. Pick somebody else.
I don't even think Dan is the pivotal person in this moment. I think the idea that she brings it to Dan is it's fine. But she brings it to Dan and Alec, who we just saw has created a strike force. So Alec can easily be and let me be very clear. John Hennigan and Dan don't get 3 steps away from Angelina before they're complaining about this. They're like, well, we like Christian. And she's right behind them I did so good, you guys. Isn't that great? Isn't this plan amazing? They're 2 steps in front of her complaining about the same plan. So she's shocked when it flips. When did I didn't know there was a rating. When I asked for the vote, no one, I second the motion. No way, what happened? It's you couldn't tell them people weren't picking up what you were putting down. You were missing the mark here.
Yeah.
switches it when they tell her, like, oh no, we changed it. It's not gonna be Christian anymore. She's like, oh, okay. I get it. And she runs off.
Yeah. And
Jason, keep going.
they're gonna put the
Jason.
Elizabeth. Yeah.
Keep going, Jason. What happened?
It's just her own people. She finds she lures Elizabeth away from camp.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck?
Snitches on her own people. And the great thing about it was after all this, and you know, after the vote, we'll talk about that. But she's basically like, Elizabeth chased me down and made me tell her name.
She cornered me. I had no choice. I had such a long day. I just couldn't lie anymore.
She was in one fall through going, Elizabeth.
Hey, you, come here. She was stalking the path. Yeah.
This is such a cool
Over
editing.
here, I got to do better over the mattress.
I got a new mattress. So it's such a cool editing trip they do too, because rarely in Survivor do we hear the sound just cut out, and you hear silence as Angelina sitting there like, Elizabeth, babe, I'm sorry, I just can't love you anymore. I can't.
Okay,
It's gonna be you, and I just really wish that it could be you, and I tried to fight so hard for you, but I just couldn't. And then the music comes back, but they make sure you know it's like a documentary now. Like, we are not editing this. This is exactly what happened. And so Elizabeth, to her credit, goes, okay, thank you so much, kind soul. I'm just gonna go now.
Yeah.
And then she rips her out. It's so
She's
good.
like, I've saved myself. I gotta blow up the plan.
Love this.
Yeah.
I like to see people fighting. You don't want to see people just going down. Like, she could have said, I guess it's me, you guys. We see that all the time. Well, you guys, I just want to have a good, solid day at camp. I just want to have a peaceful time, blah, blah. She went back and was like, it's got to be her. It's got to be Angelina. This is so good.
Yeah. And she's trying to get everybody wound up and go after Angelina. This is going to extend into the tribal council when ultimately that she's going to say, like, and Angelina told me today that it was going to be me. And some of the Goliaths are going to say, like, wait, what happened? It sounds like you're trying to get her jury vote. And Angelina's like, no.
Me?
I have never heard of anything so duplicitous in my life. How dare you? You know, I like how they get to the tribal council, though. Because Elizabeth goes to Gabby, who, as I said, is fed up with being at the bottom. She reminds us every episode that it sucks being a David. And Elizabeth's like, hey, they told me it was me. Should I blow this up? And Gabby's like, yeah, but wait till tribal council. Because you would think the play here would be, while we have time to strategize, why don't I take this to them and they can think about it and they can make this move? Rarely are decisions made at tribal council that matter. But Gabby's like, look, I might be next. So maybe if we get Gabby to we get Elizabeth to blow this up, that might put some smoke on Angelina for next round. So we lose Elizabeth this round, but I got a little cover to play with next round. And so while all of this is going on, like, you were pandering for jury votes and stuff like that, Gabby's like, it's so hard being a David. And you know, somewhere poor Allison is like, oh my God, I understand. So it was a good move for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gabby was legitimately upset, and it's going to end up shaking things up in the next vote, because Mike White is going to be like, but we're working with you. Why is Gabby freaking out at tribal council? Like, it seems like she doesn't feel like that this group of 6 is working.
She can't hold it together enough for Mike White.
And that's where I said to Steven on the know-it-alls, I'm like, I think that Gabby is faking because she's trying to throw everybody off from this group of 6.
Yeah, no. And Steven almost hung up in your face. He was trying so hard. He was trying to reel you back in. You're like, hear me out. I got a plan. And you're like, you just start putting the pieces together. And I think Gabby even tweeted like, no, I'm not faking. So like somebody had to clear the record, you know.
Yeah. So
it's okay, Rob. You gave her the strategic, the strategic chops that we might not have been able to see in her edit.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else about Elizabeth?
No, she was fun while she was there.
Yeah,
I enjoyed her.
It's wild she's on the jury.
Why do you say that?
The jury's too big. Elizabeth was not part of the story enough to be on the jury. With all due respect, I'm sure she's a great person.
Yeah, she's the one who calls out that Dan and Kara are still like flirting and playing footsie and stuff all night. So she has a couple good moments. She's not like a character we see a lot in Survivor history, so I do like that. I talked about how diverse the cast is, but a lot of these don't fit into like your normal archetypes. We don't get cowgirls often, you know, if that's her like, you know, archetype.
Like the
so
real life
I like
Jessie from Toy Story.
Yeah, exactly. Except she's a little bit more cutting than Jessie probably is.
A little salty.
It was good to see her while she was there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Things are really gonna pick up now as we get into the 8th episode of the season. Nick and Davey go and they look for the advantage, and they realize, okay, exactly where it is. Davey is going to put on some sort of a distraction while Nick is able to go get the steal a vote.
Yeah. Bro, this is not some sort of a distraction here. Like, Davey is twirling this stick around, and they're like, oh my God, is he doing Taekwondo? Listen, Davey is a member of, like I said, a lesser fraternity, and their fraternity is known to have like these little canes, kind of like candy canes. Very, very silly. I would never waste my time, but that's kind of what his fraternity does. So he was flexing his fraternity muscles here in his lesser-known fraternity that I will not name. So yeah, that's what happens when you don't have black people telling black stories. That's overlooked.
You know, I actually had Wendell on the podcast that week that this episode was on, and Wendell had explained it to me in the real time when the episodes were on. But Chappelle, this could be practice for you. You said when we did the Simple Life on the RHAP Rewind this week with Lavina that your dream is to be a person who flips the signs.
Yeah. No, I want to be a mask guy outside. Like, I want to be the Liberty Mutual, like person who's like flipping the thing. Yeah, like the one who's outside on the street corner, like flipping the thing. Well, at least that's what I wanted to do when I was little. Now, Rob, I have bills now, and so that's not appropriate for me. But in a past life, yeah, I just wanted to be outside in a big Sonic costume, like dressed like a slushie or something.
Okay. Mike White has a conversation with Christian, and he tells Christian about how what's with Gabby? I didn't like how she was at that tribal council, and Christian has the confessional where he says, "That's a very unusual thing to say."
It's like, but is he wrong though for saying this, Jason? Like, I mean, Mike has every reason to be concerned, right?
I think that it's weird because I would chalk it up to Gabby being performative. Like, she was so performative in that tribal council where I kind of agree with Rob where she may have been faking a little bit. But, you know, that's kind of tribal council theatrics, right? Like, why, you know, she's trying to throw everybody off the set of their alliance. Yeah. But he's very paranoid about it.
Well, I mean, from his point of view, if we are locked in, then it shouldn't matter that we're voting out Elizabeth that much. And so if she's not faking this, why does she care that much? It's just Elizabeth, you know, like she cool or whatever, but I mean, we got the strike force. I thought we were doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is what Christian said.
Mike had concerns about Gabby, and that he was a little worried about Gabby's commitment to the Six. That's a weird thing to say.
Yeah. I guess Christian does not handle this great, because then Mike White comes away from this conversation like, yeah, we have to vote Christian out. Like, the vote is Christian. The vote is Christian. What are we doing? The play is here, and Goliath's strong. Gotta vote him out.
Yeah, I mean, isn't the vote always Christian though? Like, before we get to Angelina, I mean, to Allison, it's always Christian. Like, one of these doctors gotta go. And so it just takes like the wind to blow the right way for somebody to be like, but what if we went after Christian? And I mean, to be fair, this is a good time to get Christian. Like, you have the numbers. Like, what are you gonna do when we're looking at the big threats and we're saying, okay, well, they have to go, and then you're doing slide puzzles against Christian in the final 5. You don't want that. So I don't blame them.
Yeah. All right, so the Goliaths are going to all stick together. This is what Angelina says. This was my idea.
Got a point.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's so duplicitous, though. So maybe at this, like Jason said, the horns have grown a little bit. The Elizabeth thing has now turned her into somebody that they don't even want to listen to anymore. So even though in this moment she could even say that, she probably could pull somebody to the side and say, I just said that.
That's
like, girl, get out of my face. You're the decoy, boo.
That's insane. Yeah, so we're really like wrapping up all this side content. To where, yeah, feels like we're reaching the end. Tremor Tusk. Stormbird. See, these are all the strong
Overrides I need
ones.
to restore.
Thunder Draw. Ooh.
More new machines. Cauldron doors. They should lead me outside.
Alright, oh, I guess Will Neff is watching more Survivor. And that's it's so weird this is a thing, you know, though. It's watching Survivor.
This cauldron must have been pumping water in and out to release aquatic machines. Huh. Smart.
Wait, how do we get out? Was there an exit here? Oh. Whew. Alright. So that's done. So what time are we at? 36 minutes. To be honest, I could do one more. And that'd put us in position to just do main story next time. I think I might do that. Fuck, why did I fast travel there? That was not the right move.
Getting that signal.
How far away is that? It's still 500 away. I forgot I'm completely out of that, so that's something.
Wings holding up?
So yeah, it is 2:30 in the morning at this point, but and let's go and do one more. And we're over 40 hours into the game at this point. But anyway, thank you for watching.